Hi, welcome to Project Elivate, where we will discuss all things related to health, hormones, aesthetics, and longevity. The topics discussed are the opinions of Olivia Stivers, nurse practitioner. They are not intended to diagnose or to treat any conditions. If you have any questions regarding your personal health, please talk to your personal healthcare provider or see us at Elivate Wellness. Now let's get to the show. All right, welcome back to Project Elivate. This is episode number 18. And as promised last week, we're going to dive into the subject of Hashimoto's. So there's different thyroid conditions. And last week we talked about mainly underactive thyroid. Today we're going to shift gears and talk about some immune conditions that can affect the thyroid. The most common is going to be Hashimoto's. The other one is Graves' disease. We don't see this as often, actually. Pretty rare.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
But Graves' disease is an autoimmune condition that could make the thyroid be hyperactive. Hashi's is more hypoactive. But we always do this catch-up thing. But in all honesty, we catch up like tons before we start the episode. But I don't know. I guess we could talk about... Trudy has a baseball game today.
Hey.
What are you going to go do today?
Me and my girlfriend is going to work on her bridal bouquets.
Yeah.
She's doing mini bouquets. So we're going to put those together today. And then I'm going to talk to my trainer and get a little bit of an update. And I'm hoping my tickets come in for a concert I booked last night.
What concert did you?
The Mexican OT. That Mexican OT.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun. Where is it?
It's in Louisville at the Crown Palace.
Oh, okay.
And so it's on a Wednesday night. So I'll be a little struggly on Thursday, but I'll be here.
We'll be here.
We'll be here.
Bells on.
Man, Abby's going too. She done snuck in there.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she wrote me. She said, "Did you know he was coming?" And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "Girl, I just bought my ticket." She's like, "Can I come?" I was like, "Sure."
Oh, she's going with you.
She's
like with you.
I guess so.
Is Austin going too?
I have no clue. That's as far as we got.
That's fun.
Me and Elma's going.
Alma. Oh, no.
Me and Elma's going.
So, well, we had fun. Let's see. I guess we didn't even talk about our Oaks Day adventure we took for the office too last week.
Yeah.
Was that last week? Yeah, it's been a week ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was interesting.
For the Derby.
Yeah, we went to Jim Beam and did like this little bourbon tasting little miniature tour thing. But I was more about the food, to be honest with you. The food was delicious.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, and then after that, the day just kept going. Marissa and Alana, they went downtown.
Yeah, we did Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was like we'd go to some place and be like, all right, well, where are we going next? Okay, where are we going next? Long story short, we ended up at a tattoo parlor.
Yeah.
Which, my tattoo's already fading out, so I got to go get it touched up. But it is on the inside of my lip, so.
She's been branded.
Yeah, so it was fun.
Because she talks so much, she's done rubbed it off, y'all. As we jabberjaws and done. No, I'm just kidding.
It probably. Yeah.
But yeah,
So.
that was fun. Also, just so she clarified, Jim Beam, we just don't like bourbon.
No, I do not like bourbon.
We don't like bourbon. That's the only thing we didn't like. Why you go to a bourbon place when you don't like bourbon? We don't know.
I don't know. I just love the history.
Yeah.
And I love the environment. The kitchen table, you guys, if you've not eaten at the kitchen table at Jim Beam, you need to go. It's
Pimento
so good.
cheese was fire.
Mhm.
Hummus was fire. It was all fire.
It was really, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, Hashimoto's. This is, I think, a lot of times when we do labs on patients, how many times have you sat down with someone and been like, hey, by the way,
Congratulations.
you have Hashimoto's, and they had no idea. It's never been caught. Now, when we're talking about Hashi's, we have to remember it is an immune condition. It's not a thyroid condition. It affects the thyroid. So when we talk about improving Hashimoto's, one area that I think we focus on heavily is, now that we know better, is looking at the gut. Because the gut controls a lot of our immune responses.
It's our environment. It's your gut environment is you. That is, think of it, as one of our patients said, like a fish tank.
Yeah.
You know, he was like, if you don't have a good water temperature, if you ain't got the right
pH,
things grow amok, your fish get sick, they die. Like, you got to have a good gut.
Yeah.
You don't want swamp water and trying to grow rare tropical fish. It's not fitting to happen.
No, it's totally where we take things in and we get things out. It's like, it's just crucial. So when we're talking about Hashi's, so when we say immune condition, what we're looking at is these things called TPO or TGA. We look at these antibody levels. They really should be 0. So when we're looking at labs, our typical panel is, as we talked about before, a thyroid stimulating hormone, aka TSH. We look at a free T3, free T4, sometimes a total T4, TPO and TGA, and then sometimes a reverse T3, depending on the circumstances. Usually that's something I'll add on as a follow-up. Like if we start someone on thyroid hormone, we'll add that reverse T3 on there later.
Just to see how we're coping as a person.
Yeah. Are you taking the thyroid hormone? If you're on thyroid hormone, maybe you're not. If you're taking that thyroid hormone and converting it correctly.
And using it for the energy that its purpose is.
Yeah. Which is, remember, if you listen to the last one, which is active T3. Okay. So let's talk about there are 3 components typically when we're talking about Hashis, okay? So if you think about a stool and you're sitting on a stool and you've got 3 legs, these 3 legs need to all be there and sturdy. If one of them's gone,
fall over,
or an issue, it's gonna topple over, and that's when things happen. Okay, so the first thing is with Hashis, typically there's a genetic predisposition. Mm-hmm. Someone in your family has an autoimmune condition, and it may not even have to be Hashimoto's. It could be
diabetes type 1. Yeah. Rheumatoid arthritis, eczema, psoriasis, severe allergies, like anaphylactic shock, even like to that point. If I tell all my patients, autoimmune is an umbrella term. Yes. Typically, when you have one, it's like those little, the little peaks at the end of your umbrella where it does that little lacy look and it comes down to the ends. Like you're going to have multiple. You'll usually have surrounding ones. And the more those histories or the more of those issues that are in your family, the more likelihood you will also have those issues, plus the possibility of Hashimoto's.
Mm-hmm. And they typically come in couples. So if someone has one autoimmune condition, they typically will have another one of some sort. So there's usually a genetic predisposition. Yeah. Number 2, there's usually, going back to the gut, some gut permeability. I think the term leaky gut is misleading. I think people always think of leaky gut like, things are only just getting out into the bloodstream. That's not true. When we're talking about gut permeability, we're talking about intruders getting into the gut. Mm-hmm. So when you look at the gut lining, a healthy gut has these really tight junctions in between each cell. So things aren't likely to cross that barrier or get out. So you are not leaking stool out into your body. This isn't like a perforated bowel, okay? It's completely different. But pathogens can move in and move out.
Bacteria, parasites, things like that. Bad colonizers, as we call them. Mm-hmm.
So when things are moving in, it will degrade that gut lining even more. So when you don't have a good gut lining, you're not going to absorb the nutrients, those key nutrients that you need for healthy cells in our bodies, okay? And therefore, inflammation ensues. So that's number 2. So again, we've got genetic predisposition, we've got gut permeability. Mm-hmm. The third thing is typically there's some type of trigger.
Some kind of traumatic event.
Mm-hmm. Some stressor. Yeah. And it could be a life event. It could be a virus. It could be an injury. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a whole lot of things, not even just physical,
mental, all the combinations.
A stressor.
Yes.
Yeah. And so again, that throws off a lot of things again in our gut too. Stress impacts our gut. Sorry, it can. When you don't have enough good gut, it will disrupt the gut bacteria. When you don't have enough good gut bacteria, you can't break things down.
Yep. And more than likely, you have all 3 of these things going on in your life.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're going to be stressed. You're going to not have the best clean diet. So, if we're already at genetic risk, we're not eating well, and then you have stress of life, we've created a tornado. Mm-hmm. It's a tulip bulb effect, and it makes it even harder to recover from those things or to find like the energy and things that we need to do to function. And I think that does make a difference. Is like we have to, like, I know we talk about these individuals, but everybody is impacted in more than one of these areas at a time, like you kind of said. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I agree.
So once we determine, when we're looking at someone's labs, we'll look and say, okay, hey, by the way, you have these Hashimoto, you have these antibodies present. Then we look at, okay, so what is your thyroid function?
Yeah. How much has this impacted it? How much have they beat up on you?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Some people, I can't say this without breaking any privacy, but someone very close to me has very moderately elevated levels of antibodies. However, their thyroid hormones themselves haven't been impacted yet. So therefore, I would call that person, we call it euthyroid. Mm-hmm. So normal thyroid with Hashimoto's antibodies. Mm-hmm. So our priority in treating that particular patient is going to be how can we keep the antibody levels low and support thyroid function. They're not really, I wouldn't say she's even symptomatic for being hypothyroid, so she's not on thyroid hormone.
But we know what can happen over time as those antibodies continue to build up and whoop up on the thyroid.
Yeah.
We're trying to prevent a problem for later rather than waiting for the problem to occur. So
we're treating the gut.
Yeah.
We're making sure that fiber's in her diet. She's getting a variety of foods.
Supplement probably.
Yeah. So she's on a multivitamin. Last podcast I said zinc and iodine. It's supposed to be selenium and iodine. I do this all the time.
Zinc is good for you.
It is zinc. It's good for you. But we're making sure her iron stores are where they need to be. She's on a good multivitamin that has plenty of selenium and iodine. And I'll come back to that in a minute. We also have her on a thing called black cumin seed oil. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we'll do things to lower inflammation in the body or to help keep these antibody levels low. There's two things that I love, and that's black cumin seed oil, which has been very effective in keeping these low, and then low-dose naltrexone. Mm-hmm. And I guess we can come back to that low-dose naltrexone in just a minute when we talk about treatments and stuff.
Okay.
But I said I was going to come back to something. What did I said, I'll come back to that in just a minute. Oh, selenium and iodine.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that. This does not mean, everybody should be on selenium and iodine. No, because as we talked about on the previous podcast, the thyroid is finicky. So you can't just go willy-nilly guessing at how much selenium and iodine you're going to take in. Yeah, because you could very well swing this pendulum in the wrong direction. So just so you know, this is where, again, developing a relationship with a practitioner that is skilled or I guess educated in this area is important. We don't just guess and say, I think you should be on this. It has to make sense. Okay.
You specifically need this. This would be vital for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where people always, I feel like just throwing off topic there, but that's where people always ask me about over supplementation.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It is a thing.
For
because
sure.
You're just like, well, let me take this, this, and this. Well, do you really need that? Is that specific to you? So that's where having someone run your lab and see where your deficiencies are, it gives a more accurate depiction for you for what is specific for your treatment plan.
Yeah.
So I do agree with that too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
we talked about her with her euthyroid. Okay.
Euthyroid. And then you've got people who are Hashimoto's they're actually underactive on their thyroid. So we are working on a dual, I guess. We're trying to lower antibodies through everything we talked about before. And then we have to replace, if they're not making the thyroid hormone, they have to have thyroid hormone.
Yeah.
It impacts every single system in our body.
Okay.
So when we treat the thyroid, I don't think we've really talked about it. We talked about how we usually desiccated thyroid on the last podcast. It's very rare for me. I do it. It's very rare for me to use only Synthroid or only levothyroxine. If someone comes into us already on this and they know they have this history of Hashimoto's or underactive thyroid, whatever, I'll typically, so I don't throw them in a tailspin, I may continue that therapy.
Bridge them over.
Right. I will offer like, hey, it would be a good idea for you to use a combo therapy like a desiccated thyroid that has T3 and T4 in it. Or let's keep your thyroid hormone where it is, the level of T4, which is levothyroxine or Synthroid.
That's what Synthroid and Levo is.
Yep. And you can add in some T3. So that would be like leothyronine or Cytomel. Mm-hmm. And just see how you feel. Bring you back in 4 to 6 weeks. Let's see where your labs are. We make adjustments. So this is, again, not a one size fits all.
And so what she's saying is, just to re-clarify, these people are my people that come in that's already being seen by like their doctor, their endocrinologist. They know they have a thyroid issue. They put them on levothyroxine, Synthroid, generic, trade name. Those are the difference between those. They come in, they're still complaining of fatigue. They're still complaining of weight gain, bowel irregularity, heart palpitations, you name it.
And they could be on a very high dose.
And they're on a high dose and they're like, please help me. What happens is typically we see on their labs, levothyroxine and Synthroid is a T4. We turn T4 into T3. However, we're just not good converters. When we have lifestyle modifications that are not up to par, we're not taking care of our habitat, like in our environment, in our gut, we're not doing things that we need to, or if we have those antibodies too, that can impact how we create our hormones. It's affecting our thyroid. So what she's saying is sometimes, and primary care doesn't really focus on that T3, but we understand the purpose behind the T3. That T3 goes every single cell, every single part of your body, helps it with activation energy. So when she adds in that leothyronine, it is a T3. So then people are coming in, they feel like crap. Their T4 is fine. Their TSH is fine. Their free T3. So we're going to give you some T3 to help supplement that so you don't have to make that big of a jump, because you've been on your Synthroid now for how many years, ma'am? I already know, I understand. But let's just, if you're not seeing success with this, how about we just try this and I will meet you halfway. And that is where that leothyronine comes in. However, with our patients, typically, we do try to start off with desiccated thyroid, which is a T4, T3 combo. So it kind of helps lessen the pill burden, technically, because it is in one capsule or one tablet. And we're treating both parts of the mechanism, which we have seen over time. We're not making T3 from T4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. There's all kinds of, and not to muddy the water more, but when it comes to thyroid hormone, there's all kinds of different ways we could do it.
Yeah.
There's even compounded.
Yeah.
So if you're someone who's on Armour, they've done NP, which is a desiccated thyroid, and it's like, okay, we still can get that T3 up. Okay, let's switch you over to a specific compound. We'll work with a compounding pharmacy that's specific to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something. The only downside to that is those are typically not covered by insurance.
Costly.
Yeah. Which is not crazy expensive, but it's like, yeah, insurance companies are not going to cover anything that isn't basically manufactured.
I think I pay $40 a month out of pocket for mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what I do, because I don't have insurance, so I just pay out of pocket.
And you're on NP thyroid.
Yeah. Yeah. I switched over from Armour. And that's some other things that we do too sometimes when it comes to cost. We look at options. So we are cognizant of it to a degree. I mean, I don't make the prices, but I'll try to help you find the best one.
Yeah. So I would say, when we look at someone who's overtly hypothyroid, 90% of the time it's going to be from Hashimoto's. And it could be that that Hashimoto's antibodies are kind of playing in the background for a long time. We don't even know. And then it just takes a minute to...
And it's more common in women too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
More common in women. Just another identifier there.
Well, so Ali Fahrenbach posted something yesterday. And I'm going to bring her up because I'm like, man, she just...
Fountain of knowledge.
It's like truth after truth. So she said something about women, we carry a lot of burdens. And look, I'm not saying men. One thing you'll know about me, I'm not a feminist. Let me just go ahead and get that out of the way. However, I will agree that I think women tend to carry more emotional burdens more so than men. And that's just our nature. But because of that, we allow things like stressors to overwhelm us a little bit more, and it causes the gut disruption and things, and they're more likely to suffer things like an autoimmune condition. So if you haven't seen that post, go back. I think I might have shared it to my story. Well, you won't know now, but
too far gone.
Yeah. But it's good. It's a good one. You should read it.
Yeah. I just a thought too, and this is not proven, but this is just me theorizing too. Something else I've always thought about too when it comes to like Hashimoto's in women is our build. We tend to carry weight in our midsection. And I tell people, like, it's not the nicest way to say it, but fat is like a trash can. It catches a whole lot.
Yeah.
And then we have our hormones on top of that. And I think whenever we carry, the more fat you carry around your midsection, the more likely you are to have like repercussions of that gut dysbiosis, things like that. And I think that would also increase your chances of having those antibodies. We're just genetically predisposed to a degree. What is it? You got
Can I read it?
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So this was her post. And it said it caught my attention because I'm like, people pleasing. Yes. Women are notoriously people pleasers. And I swear that's why we are sicker, fatter, more anxious, and have higher instances of IBS, IBD, which I feel like, I mean, it's a real thing, but there's a reason behind that.
Yeah.
And autoimmunity than men do. And I'm like, yeah, people pleasing. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. We want to be the peacekeepers most of the time. So, okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
And
Did
then
that answer anything?
Are you going to go back about the LDN or all
We
that
can.
stuff?
Yeah. Okay. So low-dose naltrexone. Black cumin seed oil is great. We've seen that work. Low-dose naltrexone is another therapy that will help modulate the immune system.
Yeah.
So Naltrexone historically was used for addiction disorders, alcohol, drug abuse, and it was used in higher doses, like 50 milligrams on average.
Mm-hmm.
They give it to people. It kind of binds itself to the opioid receptors on cells. And so when someone takes in alcohol or whatever, it blunts the effects of the alcohol. So they're not getting the
satisfaction
high
from it.
Yes. So then that helps them with that addiction. But what they found was low dose naltrexone, when used in very low doses, with the max dose being like 4.5 milligrams. What'd you say?
I said coin the name.
Yeah, low dose naltrexone. There's even ultra low dose naltrexone that's like 2 milligrams now. But it's a compounded medication. Not covered by insurance. Again, naturally, it's compounded to get the doses where we need it to be. But it's just enough to where it will bind to enough opioid receptors on cells. So that way, in instances of inflammation or pain or whatever, your body senses that and it's like, hold on, wait a second. We need, in the background, your body's creating all these endorphins. They're building them up. Well, when low dose naltrexone on low doses kind of breaks off in like 4 to 6 hours from that receptor, that's how short acting it is. It'll break off. These endorphins flood those cells and help lower inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's how low dose naltrexone works. There's a website, it's called, is it the LDN Research Trust?
Yep.
.com that we refer our patients to, but it can be helpful for treating all kinds of autoimmune conditions. Hashimoto's. It's been shown for eczema, psoriasis, rheumatoid. Yeah,
and it's even been shown to help with like depression, anxiety, and things like that. Inflammation. I'm on it. I take MP thyroid. I take low dose naltrexone, and then I take my methylated vitamins and things like that. My good fiber, my berberine. I'm trying to hit all points of it. I have Hashimoto's, as I've talked about, but I will say, I think too. Again, looking back at when I was a kid, that was when my psoriasis, my eczema was the most severe.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. And I was most inflamed, and I was my biggest. And it's probably because my diet sucked, my thyroid was out of whack, and I didn't have no other idea. And I kept going to the doctor for years, and they were like, let's check your thyroid. We think it's your thyroid. It's not your thyroid. It's not your thyroid. But guess what?
It was your thyroid.
It was my thyroid.
So,
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's covered it. Man, it's hard to condense these things in a 20, 25 minute podcast and keep your all's attention. So
yeah, make sure it's like understandable, relatable.
So our with or without it today, we were talking about this Met Gala.
Oh yeah.
Is it gala or gala first of all?
Met Gala? I say gala.
Okay. Gala.
We from Kentucky, you can say gala.
Gala.
Yeah.
I saw some pretty interesting. I didn't watch it, but I saw some really interesting outfits.
Yeah. Yeah, gowns.
Yeah.
Whatever, I guess. I don't know if that was a gown. She already showed me the picture. The inner tube?
Yeah. No. What is it? But my favorite one was Christina Aguilera's.
You gotta Google it.
It is. And like, it was so interesting to me. It looks like she's in her own little snow globe. Like, I want to be in that. I don't know that I would wear that, but it was cute.
Yeah. I like Tyla's. I hope that's how I say her name. It was made completely of sand. They like put it together. It could only be worn once. She only wore it on like the red carpet or whatever that is. And then she had to change her outfit once she got inside because it deteriorated.
Really? So what did she change into?
I don't really know. I didn't follow all the way through. I was half invested. And then there was a lot of controversy about the Met Gala. Did you know about all that?
No.
I feel like there always is. I feel like people bring this up. You ever watch Hunger Games?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're like trying to like make a play saying like how the world is in disarray and we're all like can't feed ourselves and things like that. And here we see these celebrities over here with these multi-billion-dollar dresses. Well, a TikTok influencer, her name's Haley Bailey, actually went out there and she had this beautiful floral Marie Antoinette is what it was inspired by gown. And she actually did a TikTok based off of Marie Antoinette's like let them eat cake. And the social media went ballistic because back in the day, it was kind of like Marie Antoinette was a child and she'd been in like the kingdom her whole entire life. And the peasants or the people of the community were starving. And they were like knocking on the door saying like, we're dying, like we don't have enough. And she just like said, well, let them eat cake. Like that was her answer to it. And it was like, it's always been like, speculated, was it just her age and like the fact that she didn't know because she'd always grew up in nobility, like was she that ignorant to the society, or was it like it's not my problem? So for her to do that, they were like, you know what I'm saying, like the world's in disarray, and then here you poke fun of it. So they're
Yeah,
like trying
I
to.
did not know that.
Yeah,
but
like-
I could see where I'd be like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I'm about to dolly
Yeah,
love you.
yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah.
It was the choice because the theme this year I think was like something time, like endless time or something like that, and then I can't remember all of it, but it was interesting to like how deep down the rabbit hole people go with those things. But I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but she gained like a bazillion followers off of it, so you know how publicity stunts go.
Yeah, that's true.
It was probably calculated.
That's probably what it was. Yeah, like we're gonna do something to make a lot of people mad,
Yeah.
but you're gonna be really popular because of it. Stupid.
Yeah. I hope I pop off. Not like that, but like on
know,
social
right?
media. They just see my face and they're like, you're the one.
Yeah.
We'll follow her. All right.
All right. Well, we'll catch you guys next time. We're gonna talk about pellets.
Ooh. I love them. That's all you got to know.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed our content, please comment, like, and share our show. To stay up to date with our practice, please visit our website at www.elevatewellness.com or to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Elivate Wellness LLC.